All right, welcome all. Welcome to our Wake Up USA moment. We are here to, as the Energile early birds, every Friday we have the book breakthrough for several years, and even including our, we want to continue that tradition here too, as part of our Energile coaching. And today we are going to have a very unique book, which Vanilla is going to present. Yeah. Without any further ado, we'll just get it going, and then each of you please start taking notes and start reflecting. Feel yourself as if you're getting that angelic guidance with whatever you're listening here. The universe always bring what you vibrate. If you are here, that means you have been attracted by what vibe you have created. And we have attracted this book through Vanilla. And Vanilla, like the angelic guidance I was saying, right? So maybe there are some messages the angel is going to bring to us, right? It comes through Vanilla. Let's take it. And each of us are the angels to make the world better, our life better. And from that sense, just see that we are receiving those higher frequencies, higher thoughts, and then see how we can self-reflect in our life. Yeah, without further ado, I'll let's give a warm welcome. Just give your heart, high five, thumbs up, or the comments to Vanilla to welcome her, and then present. Yes, Vanilla, rock and shine. It's all yours.
Good morning, guys. Mahendiran, how do I share the PowerPoint? I have a PowerPoint presentation.
Sure. Yeah, can you try now, Vanilla?
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, sure. Take your time.
Share screen. Okay. Okay. I hope this works. I'm just sharing my screen.
Yes.
Slideshow play from current side. Okay. So you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, very much.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. Good morning, everybody. It's kind of funny that how I picked up this book. I think in one of like the Friday sessions, when Mahendiran asked for us to read a book, I remembered about this book, and then I bought this a year ago, and then I only read a couple of chapters. So then I thought this is a good book, and why don't I, read more? And I think that's a divine way of telling me that I need to read this book at this point, because I've been having some challenges parenting my 2 young kids. At least like reading this book had helped me in this past 1 week a couple of times, which is a win. I mean, the time I spent is not it's being used effectively. So I felt good about it. Okay, coming to the author, Dr. Becky Kennedy. She is a clinical psychologist, and she is quite famous on Instagram and in social media. And so she's named as a millennial parent whisperer by Times Magazine, and her specialty is like she thinks deeply about what's happening inside kids' mind in their world, and then she uses those and then like creates simple principles and guides for parents to navigate the parenting challenge. So it's a very good book, and it's available Audible and on Kindle as well. Okay, so her way, so the traditional parenting, we like at least when we were brought up, we were told, like we were like told by our elders what to do, what not to do, and even though whether we like it or not, we used to follow. Here, when I started off as a parent, and I I read through a few things, and then they said, reward your kids, give them some stickers, like how they do in the schools, right? Like if they do a good job, or get them some treats, or give them some toys, so that they behave okay. Like I've been trying that, and it does help sometimes, but not every time. But like when I read through certain parts, I did not read the entire book yet. I only read bits and pieces here and there. So when I read, her approach is quite different. She starts off with saying that all kids, like in fact, everyone, they're all good inside. The reason why certain tantrums or why they're behaving a certain way is because of a variety of reasons. They lack a connection, or they want some like needs that need to be met. So when we see a tantrum, or when we see an aggression happening, she like asks us to think, like take a step back and think, have a most generous interpretation of what's happening. That like this one sentence changed my perspective. At least like when I was thinking, why is my son behaving? Why is he like shouting? So when I think back, I realize, it's past the dinner time, and I really need to feed him, to calm him down. So like if I reacted, and if I responded back, it would have been different. But then when I took a step back and understood it, it made sense. So that was like of basis foundation she mentions in this book. And she talks about certain principles in this book. One such principle is that two things can be true at the same time, which means, let's say if my child wants to have an ice cream just before dinner, or a snack before dinner, um, usual way I would end up saying, it's dinner time, we can't have it. But then, like following this principle, when I think back, so it's okay for my child to have a craving, to want to have an ice cream, but at the same time, I can't give it to him, and then that will spoil the dinner time. So I need to hold my boundary. Traditionally, I used to like either give in and give it, or I would not give it. But then with this approach, what I realized is that I need to like explain to them that, I can give something like, I'll tell them that, if they finish the dinner, they can have an ice cream, and I can give a choice, like children like to be in control instead of like listening. Like nobody wants to be like given instructions, right? Like if I give them a small, instruction saying, do you I'll have two flavors, do you want this or that? At least they can get a little control, and they can feel a little happy. I know it won't work a lot like many times, but that's something I realized, like earlier, like when I started off, I used to think, I think that's something they talk about in the next slide. Yeah, I'll talk about the feelings and everything in the later slides. But this is a job as a parent. You need to hold the boundaries, and you need to like realize that you can't make a kid happy 100% all the time. You need to, they are allowed to have their own feelings. It's not that they should suppress their feelings. So that's another eye-opening thing for me. Yeah, so then she also talks about where like some kids, like like kids, they in the early development years is when they form connection, and then they know who is safe, where to go and express and get their needs met. So once they feel the person is safe, either of the parent, they would go and express and have questions, understand what is good and what is not good to do. But it's never too late. Like if the kid, like for that matter, any like this, the principles in this book, I felt like it can be applied even with your partner or with anybody in your family nearby. So it's never too late. You can always start like wherever you are. So the brain is like, it's so powerful. It can rewire itself based on like the information we give it, based on how we are training ourselves each day, right? Like if we keep changing the habits, we can definitely establish new habits and new patterns. um, yeah, so that's this slide about. And so this is about resilience. So our job as a parent is not to, like I said, it's not like making them happy 100%, but we need to like train our kids to be resilient, like have their own feelings, understand their feelings, and then use their develop their judgment to make a decision. That's our ultimate goal, which like, uh, like most of the adults are not even doing this, but our job is to like repeat and tell them that um, it's okay to have your own like it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad. I'm actually amazed like how, like my daughter is 3 years old. For a 3-year-old, she understands, she can name her emotions, like when she's sad, when she's angry, when she's upset. She'll come and say, I'm angry. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on in my head, but I'm like so happy that she can understand what she's going through, and she's able to name. So I can I can direct her. Okay, so what made you angry? Okay, what do you need, or how can we do things differently? Like talking and having that connection makes her feel safe, and we can talk more and see what makes her happy later on. So yeah, so having like once you teach the kids to listen to their emotions, listen to their body, that makes them feel confident, and actually like suppressing your feelings. Yeah, when a person keeps on doing, they would develop anxiousness, or they would not have confidence over themselves, which is not what we would want for anyone, right? So the approach in this book is about teaching the kids to be resilient and independent, and be like ready to solve their problems. So for us to be able to teach them, we need to be present. We need to be listening and understand, and not judge the situation, and listen to them. So how do we do that? First, for us to be able to give to our kids, we need to like fill our cup first. um, Only like we are good to ourselves, that that reflects, and then our relationship with anybody around us would be as good as how we are with ourselves. So that's why like the self-care is most important. So as adults, like as a parent, we all have our own fair bit of shame. We all faced it, or we all face it. Instead of like hiding, or why am I doing like this, am I a bad parent, why are things happening like this, instead of feeling guilty or hiding that emotion. Becky, like she suggests that sit with the emotion, face it, face the shame, and then think about it, why is it happening, reflect upon it, and then once you bring it out, and then you sit with it, and then do the grounding practice, like Mahendiran says, breathe and allow your feelings, like feel how much ever you want to feel, but you can't keep on living in the same emotion, right? So once you have your feelings, and then first you need to like have your needs met yourself initially, because ultimately you are the one who can take care of yourself, your feelings. Understand that the other person, they don't recognize your needs, which is okay, because they would not understand what's going on in your world. And so once you have your needs met, there is one more step, which was like repair your hurts, your feelings, that you might have done for yourself. So with that, you would feel confident and good inside, and you can take care of others. So that's this about. So connection. So like I said, for the like so there is an example she talks about where a child, he hits his sister and he lies to his parents. So um, so instead of saying you should not lie, first you need to understand, sit with them, so make them feel that they are not alone. Feeling alone in the feelings, that's the problem. So we need to sit with them, have a connection, like you can talk to them and see, first of all, like hitting the kid, they are still developing, their brain is still in the development stages, so they might have an impulsive reaction. So after hitting, they might think this is not what I should have done, but then it's already done. And then they are lying because if they come, if they might fear that if the parent comes to know, they might not like it, and they might not have a connection, they might lose the connection with you. So that might be the reason why they lie. So so that's so instead of shouting, if we can make it safe for them to express, having a connection, that's like a key for solving majority of the problems. Um, so once we sit with them and talk to them, they would tell us like, oh, she's not doing it this way, in this way. That's the reason why I was telling her, but she doesn't understand. And that's why I ended up hitting her. Like I'm talking from my experience that goes on every day. So I mean, uh, this book is amazing. Like there's a lot. At the same time, I am talking about the real life, my examples here. Um, so once I sit and once I have that connection, that's when he explains like, this is what that went in my head. So once that connection is established, one other technique to like have that connection is repair. Repair means like um, talk to them, and like let's say if I shouted, or if I said don't do like that, instead of that, if I sit and if I say, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have shouted at you, or I shouldn't have said like this, um, you know tell them that what you would do differently next time. And then once you create that safety, once he lets out what's going on in his head, then understand, like have curiosity, don't judge at that moment, like understand what's going on. And then we can talk about like what can we do, like maybe have some suggestions, like like show it to her instead of telling her. She might not understand. If you can show it to her, she might understand. So why don't we give it a try next time? Like if I explain, I know this, everything is like, this is not like, it can't happen in one instant, and it's a ongoing process, having this one-on-one conversations, having these conversations, and it's not like a one day thing and they would get it right away. Like it has to be like model, it has to be repeated day in day out until it gets into their system. And also one other thing I realized, that parenting is not about just raising the kids, it's also improving yourself. It's like understanding your triggers, understanding your like reactions, understanding what makes you react this way, and then like repair, and then have that trauma heal. And then you can only teach what you practice. You can't just like tell them and then you end up doing the same thing again. So anyway, so the connection is the most important thing. And to connect to a kid, like when high emotions arise, we need to have like repair the situation at times. Yeah, and one other thing she talks about is sometimes the kids behave a certain way because they might have an underlying needs, or they might like lack a connection, or they might have some underlying fears that need to be like explained, and we need to make them understand so that they understand how to approach the thing that they fear about. So you should always like again like so when the previous example, when the fight is happening, I need to like ensure that the safety of both the kids is important. So I need to take the kid, like one kid aside, and then let him cry, let him have his feelings. Don't stop. Let them do like have their feelings, cry it out, and then once they're calm down a little, that's when we do the repair. That's when we sit and talk. Once it's safe. What do you mean by safe? Once they have their emotions cool down a little bit, that's when you talk. Like when I shout right away, it won't even enter into their head, because they are not in a situation, they are not in a position to grasp. So I have to tell them, I have to explain the situation, I have to hold my boundary, which is I can't let any of my kids like getting hurt. So that's the boundary that I need to create, and I have to tell them that this is not safe. So they need to stop this behavior. So once I explain it to him, then like once he thinks that's what I need to do, then they need to like they can open up and they can talk. our goal is to create an environment and make it safe and have them understand so that they stop the behavior on their own. Even the yelling, the shouting, nothing is working. So this is something like one other thing I realized is that I need to be looking at this book every few every few days because like she teaches like she talks about a lot of techniques and principles that we can apply in a variety of situations like the sibling rivalry or aggressive behavior, emotional tantrums, crying, or like we just started school, the first few days of the school, they might be fearing something like we don't know. So there are certain things. Every time I look at it, I'm like a few new nuggets that I'm gathering. Like when I glimpse through the chapters in this book. So yeah, that's about disconnection. And this principle is about, this is one thing that's interesting. So they, we all hear about shy kids, like some kids, they are not like open with adults or new people, like relatives coming in. Initially, like we used to, like when we go to India, it used to be a roller coaster ride for them and for us. We would expect them to say hello, like, how are you? At least a small, small gestures. But then that wouldn't happen. That never happened. Then we thought, oh, he's a shy kid, or maybe he doesn't want to open up. But I like we used to label, that's labeling, judging. But at least when I read, I got a new perspective, seeing so when a kid is acting shy or not acting like his usual self, that means that they are usually trying to understand the situation, the new world, the new people. Like they're trying to see what they are or who they are before they can participate in the conversation or before they can contribute. So this perspective shifted my thinking. Oh, okay, that makes sense. It's not like sometimes he's very open, sometimes they don't talk. Why is that? But looks like they are judging their feelings, their emotions. They might be scared, or they might be like thinking what is happening. So that might be the reason why they take time to open up. So in the starting the new school, or like in the past summer, I was sending my son to a summer camp. So it used to be like every single time I send him to something new, the first day he would not like it at all, every single time, but then I would talk to him and say, this might be like, I face the same thing. Like if I get a new project, or if if I have to give a presentation, I myself have fear. It's not like I'm good at it and I can present right away. So in spite of having fear, I work through the fear. I push myself, and then give the presentation or work on a project. So I tell him this is pretty common. Even the adults would face it. So that would, I'm guessing that might help him be at ease, because that's having the fear is common, and trying a new thing is scary for any person. So talk and answer any questions. So in most of the time situations, like when I explain, and the second day when he goes back, and then in the evening when I ask him how was it today, most of the times he would say he liked it. So it's just that they need to give it a try one more time, and then they like and then this week, like I wanted to send him to taekwondo class for a second time, but this time he was pretty hard on like he kept on saying he doesn't want to go, and I can't tell them to do it. He's not comfortable going, so I can't push. Like I have to listen to his feelings as well. To like I can't force him to do what he's not comfortable. So that's something like if I had not read this book, I would have like started beating myself up. Oh, I spent so much money. Why is he not going? All that a different thought process might come. But at least now, like I would think, oh, okay, maybe this is something he's really not liking. That's the reason why he's avoiding. So, and then the one other thing, this is about, so I cook something and then I want to give, but then, so if they don't eat or if they don't want to eat at all, I used to think, oh, maybe I did not cook properly, or maybe I'm a bad mom. Like I'm not like this guilt, mom guilt is like killing, like you like having a day job and then be on top of everyday chores and then every have the food on the table. Like this is like a constant juggle. Like that guilt used to creep in, but then I have to make a peace with myself, and I have to make it a point that giving the food is my job. Whether they eat it or not, it's their wish. Providing things is my job. That's all. So I can't force them. So that realization is something that I have to keep reminding myself and sit with that thought for more, for it to get into my head. Yeah, that was another eye opener for me. And there are many more interesting points she talks about. Like I said, I'm going to go back and keep reading, and I would suggest like all of you guys to like read, and you might take away a few points. So ultimately, raising children with this good inside approach, it's all about treating them with love and respect instead of disciplining them, instead of you know, telling them to do the things in a certain way. After all, we adults, we also behave certain ways. So we have to understand that this is quite common, and at the same time, we should hold our certain boundaries and then create an environment which makes it safe for the kids and to express and grow. So once we create that environment, it makes them resilient, and they would feel confident inside, and then that would reflect on the outside. That's the goal of any parent, and she like brought it up so well, and I'm a big fan of this book and like everything in this book now. So yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about it. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, or if anything, just feel free to drop a note.
Amazing book, Vanilla. Everybody gave your love, cheers, superb. And I was wondering, where this good insight comes from. The conclusion point, what you brought in is so amazing. Everything starts with good inside. Yeah, good inside is a real good outside. Very powerful book, powerful sharing. Each and every key takeaway from each of the chapters is so amazing. Yes, Vanilla, go ahead.
I'm glad you liked it, Mahendiran.
Yeah, very good. I really sincerely believe each and every parent needs to listen to this. And yeah, very powerful. Thanks. All right. I think, Vanilla has a hard stop. And if any of you want to give
I have
quick
5 more minutes. I can stay for a few minutes.
Yeah, feel free to share your reflections, friends. Yeah, over to the.
Hey Manila, this was a Balaji here. This was a great presentation. There are few things that really struck me with your presentation, or the fill your cup first before trying to actually fill your kids, right? Forcing them with questions and whatnot. And the other one was parenting is not just about raising the kids; it's about improvising ourselves. So that was actually a variation of the other quotes or reading that I have had in the past. Definitely, this has a lot of content, and you spent really a good amount of time in going through each of them. Thank you for your patience and exposing this book to us.
Thank you, Balaji.
Thank you. Let's also listen from few of the moms in the group, as well as moms in heart, the dad also. Come back, Subita. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Subita, for joining. And Mahendiran, you have to share the video with her. I inspired her to join so early today.
Yeah, still it's late, but yeah, please share the video. Tomorrow, I'll try to join it early.
We are not doing on Saturday, Subita. So I think Mahendiran can fill you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll share the recording. Yes, Swapna, anything you want to add? Sugapriya, Sudha, first we'll give it to the moms. Alamel already messaged. Thank you for this great summary. I've been meaning to read this book for a while. Alamela, would you like to add anything?
I would like to add, there was one thing that you mentioned about, when you take them for a class or a place, a new place, and, you see the reactions and, wondering why or how they are behaving or why this irrational. We experienced exactly what you said when we went to India, and we thought, we should not travel when kids are so small. Because you really cannot. You're trying to make the child comfortable. You're trying to understand the scenario, and you want to actually have a good time or be with the family that you miss so long. And we experienced again the same thing once when we went to a taekwondo class. I put the kids in during summer camp, and then I was listening. Luckily, I was listening to the book during that time. Is how do you talk when such that kids will listen? Or how do you speak when such that kids would listen, or something like that? I can't remember the exact words, but I'll find the book. And they talk about the same thing.
I know the book.
The child trying to understand the scenario, and then later on, luckily I had that awareness that I spoke to him and I asked him. I said, "Why are you not wanting to go?" And then he told, one child is shouting and bullying him all the time. He's being so mean. And this was the time where I was also trying to figure out alternative solution for after school. This was after Ramna, so it was just an interim thing, something new that he was not used to ever being in an after school, because he would always just come home from the bus. So I thought initially he was giving excuses because he wanted to just come home. He's not used to an after school program. And then I realized that actually the poor fellow was getting having a hard time over there, and that is why he was not wanting to go. So yeah, having that awareness, it's they depend on us because that's the only thing they know. And even now, sometimes I see it, like when people talk to him, um, he doesn't look them in the eye. He'll say, "What is your name?" He'll look for a second in the eye. He'll say their name, but he looks away. And when we as adults, we talk to somebody, we shake hands and we look straight in the eye and we talk, right? But I see children don't do that. So it's just an interesting observation I was noticing, and you bring that point back again down. So I definitely want to read this book now after what you shared. So thank you. A wonderful presentation, Vinila. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Swapna. Coming from you, it means a lot for me.
Hi, Vanilla. Sugapriya here.
Hi.
You made me curious to read the book now, actually. So I'm going to read the entire book because so many key takeaways for me. Like, as you said, the connection is the cure for shame. We need to be more connected with the kids. If we are strict, no, they'll start lying to us, and they might think we will beat them. And if sometimes it's okay, it's their wish. If we are cooking, if they don't want it, it's it's okay. We need to accept that. So really, it was a good takeaway. But one more thing, what I know is if the kids are not listening, when they went to the alpha state, like little deep sleep, when we talk with them in that state, most of the kids will realize that it seems like in 1 or 2 weeks, if you're continuously talking to them in that state, there are more results, it seems. Like if they are not eating food or whatever it might be, when we talk to the kids during the sleep time, so that mind will accept whatever we say. So that's what I'm practicing for my kids right now, and it's working for me. It started working for me, so I thought of sharing that as well. Thank you, Vanilla. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Sugapriya. That's a good point. Yeah, I have to work around that as well. Thank you so much.
Just on a fun note, a great points, Sugapriya. Thank you. Thanks, Swapna. Just on a fun note, right? So you can also apply this for all adults too, the adult parenting. I'm sure all moms can understand even more. Just on a fun note, even from the guys too. Like Purva has mentioned in his comment, excellent summary, Vinila. Thanks for sharing. This is a must read for every parent. As they say, once a parent, always a parent. Purva, would you like to add to what?
Yeah, thanks, Mahendiran. Thanks, Vanilla. It was in parenting it's such an important topic that, and I believe everybody in this group is a parent. And again, as I mentioned, it's irrespective of what the age of the kid is, right? There's always, as the kid is, whether it's a 6-month-old kid or a 1-year-old, it goes through a different phase of the life. And as it goes through a different phase, that grows older, your parenting skills need to be enhanced as well. So one key takeaway that I had, and which I've personally seen, is as I'm a dad of a 13-year-old. She just turned a teenager like last week. So as a dad, just unknowingly, unconsciously, you you try to see your reflection within your kid. Okay, we read all this stuff and we know that, okay, every kid is different, like you mentioned about Vanilla, but it's just like you see, like, at least in my case, like a specific example is like, I growing up as a kid, I was always into sports and all those things. So when my daughter was little, like when she was like 4 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, I've always pushed her into like physical activities. Like I've taken her to taekwondo, I've taken her to volleyball practices, and it took me a while to realize she was never into physical activities. She's a great kid. She has a strength. She's a voracious reader, great academically. She's just not into sports. And I didn't realize, like, somehow I always saw my reflection. It's like sometimes what happens as a parent, you try to impose what your dream is, what you want it to be on your kid. And your kid is not meant to be that. And so once I read this in a book, I wanted to share with everybody, something like this happens. Always like ask yourself 3 questions. Number one is isn't like life always changing. Life is constantly, the only thing that is constant in life is change. And so as the life is changing, life is progressing, generations are growing, what you have learned, what the experience you come up with is not necessarily always true for the future generation. Like I remember growing up as a kid, we always were like, hey, back home in India, either you're a doctor, engineer, or a failure. There are only three degrees, right? But now look at not over just here, even back home in India. Individuals are doing all different types of like qualifications. They have different backgrounds, and they're still successful. So life is always changing. So sometimes like so I put myself as like, okay, I want her to be into sports, but maybe she will make a better career or future out of something else as well. Like she likes gardening, she likes painting, she loves writing. So that is number one question. Number two is, and you probably brought it up in your presentation, is every kid is special. Every kid, when it's born, the divine has imbibed some kind of a quality in him or her. And so eventually every kid will make their future. So as a parent, our job is to, sometimes we think, okay, we're a parent, we have to make our kids future. We don't necessarily need to make our kids future. We need to build our kids for the future. So irrespective of what they turn out to be, as long as we build that character, whatever the future brings for them, they are able to face it and be a good citizen. And third thing is, whatever they get into, and if it's a new opportunity, a new challenge, it's just going to bring a better version of them every time. And sometimes as a parent we think, oh, we know everything, but no, that's not always true. We have only lived our part of the life. We have only learned from the set of challenges that we have seen. So we have to let our kids basically face their own challenges. And I have to keep repeating this myself over and over again. And that's when you realize that, okay, your kid is not necessarily your reflection. He or she is an individual. It's a divine has given him or her a birth, and your job is to basically just kind of nurture them and provide the upbringing. But yeah, again, once again, thanks a lot. It was a great share. It really resonated a lot of things what each and every parent we need to think about. Thanks a lot.
Wow, thank you, Purva. Your sharings are even more powerful. I'm enjoying this conversation today.
Same here. Thank you.
Lovely share, Purva, as always. All right, anybody want to add?
I just want to thank Vanilla for your efforts. Not just if your efforts for this particular book session, but every Wednesday and Friday. You are coordinating that for this team. So thanks so much for doing that.
You're welcome, Karthik.
A lot of learnings today. Most of them, even then some of them, we know that, when you say that again, right? So it helps us to remind and do that or bring it again to the life, right? Thanks so much for reminding. And one thing which Sukapriya mentioned about the alpha state. So recently I started using this chat GPT, my kids' love story during the night. I come up with my own story, right? I'll ask them what they wanted to listen, and then I come up with my own version of story before. But after ChatGPT, if for example, if I want them not to fight, then I'll ask ChatGPT, can you give me a story about how brothers work together to achieve a goal or something like that. And ChatGPT always gives me a different kind of stories. And then I'll tell that story in the night. I don't use their names, but I use a different name, whatever ChatGPT is providing. But they will try to relate that story to them, right? That's the idea as well. But I don't directly tell them, but I'll tell them in a way that they work together and solve a problem or something like that, right? But now I'm finding one more reason to do that every day. It's because, looks like, there's psychology behind this as well, or science behind this as well, right? The alpha, it will actually go directly into their brain if I do that in the night. So thanks, Priya.
Thanks, Karthik, for the idea. I should probably start using ChatGPT more.
Yeah, you can just tell ChatGPT, give me 2 minutes of story. So it will give you a small story, but
I see.
I'll customize it. I'll get the storyline and then I'll customize it so that, this is more applicable for my kids.
I see. My husband is usually the storyteller, and he makes up stories every single day. I can tell him to use ChatGPT as well.
Sometimes you don't feel like it because you don't get ideas, right?
I
This
know,
tool
yeah.
is really helpful.
Cool. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I'll log off now, but yeah, have a great day, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Vanilla. Thank you, team. I'm sure like there's more to self-reflect. Please listen to the recording maybe again and again. And I'm sure it's a very powerful presentation too, right? Vanilla has really processed through it and so nicely, put together all the summary points for each chapter and very well presented. And I was just, traveling with Vanilla when she was sharing. She didn't even use the, he. She was referring to her daughter. And it's like, talking and sharing directly with the personal as well as book breakthrough. It's both way, I can say that. It's another powerful book breakthrough, Vanilla. Good job. And thank you all for sharing, like Alamil also has mentioned. Yeah, I really like the personal example of the, with PPT, likewise hearing from all other parents also was powerful. Yeah, so very well true. And Sudha mentioned it's a powerful share, very nice presentation. I am in silence. Your skills are improving and you are excelling in everything you do. Superb. Swini says, thanks for introducing this book, Vanilla. We'll be watching the recording. All right. With that note, we'll conclude. Until see you again. Chin up, cheer up, and keep shining. Let's take massive, unlimited action to implement each and every thing we said, and especially the one which resonated with each of you the most. Even if one point is enough, to make it consistency. Thank you all. Take care. See you on top.